ya tanga zoga zu xiansa de ani cheje kasala ne techingi do je cheje kasala zigu dumbi de ne yishelen chewa je gre sine ona yishelen chewa je ge na ani yishe de ngo kar re yishe de de no na de kar re sine ne tikol she de yo wa chewa je go la la yete je go 아 예대 지고 예대 지실에 예대 지고 봐. 지실에 예대 제자다 예대 제사가 지실에 간대 요래스네. 디콜시 되게 와.
So so we were discussing about the sections on the of paying homage of the ornament for clear realizations. So in this section of paying homage, so we find how the homage is paid to these each of these three knowers by the stipulating the qualities of the each of the knower. For example, the qualities of the knower of basis.
다들 맞아 이도 전 전에서 됐잖아네. 다 같이 마지 시게 된도 된들이 마 쉬셔요. 맞아 시행가 저때 대산라고 나지나. 아니 돈보니 다들 중이도 제가 자와. 아니 이 진리 디설래. 아니 지시대 간데 시에도 제발에 간데 시 두발에 간데 시에도 쓰네 아니 또 봐 시자서 다 그랬어.
So in the monastic study programs, so in here, so we will first undertake the discussions on the root, like the sutra source of this each of the four knowers, and regarding this sutra sources, so it's of course is the referring to the sources from the Perfection of Wisdom sutras, so which are there are a few different versions, so we trying to find out how in each of those versions of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, so these are there's a mention of this each of these three knowers. So, but of course, but in here, so we just go straight into the actual the meaning of the knower of these three knowers and the qualities relate with respect to each of them.
제자들은 너 같이 다 디지시 때비가 닌도 같이 되는 도 되지 치되지 로즈네니 치라야 치라노야 안로네 아니 치트솔 마죠 아니 텔도 봐서네니 드니가 네 로지 그래서.
Yes. So in monasteries, so the monks have to not only have to find out or trace the sutra source of this. For example, the source of the where there's a mention of this knower of the base, and then not only that, then they have to memorize those kind of the statements in the sutra, and then they go to the to the debate session, and so they can read out this quote from the sutra and to begin the discussion on this.
아니 드네 다 대칭이도 전에 전에서도 잘라 대칭이도 절로 마중에 다시야 말했어. 아니 때때 로즈 아니 드네 니 티근 저와 때서 쪼고서네 니 저와 딜로네 아니 드네 제로 그랬어.
And then as part of these studying this ornament for clear realizations, then of course every monk must memorize this whole text, the Ornament for Clear Realization, by heart, and there's no question about that. And then also to for the analysis and the discussions, then they must read the other the commentaries. Primarily the main Indian commentary is the text by Haribhatras, the clarifying the meaning.
Ani tandi ndewa tso ndewa tesa isa ani ripa ya potandi ndewa tesa te opi chasung tene losu jogri serwa.
And since the Haribhatras text clarifying the meaning is the main commentary used to study this ornament text, so the those monks with a sharp mind, so they fast learning mind, so they even memorize this whole the Haribhatras text as well.
That ndiga pi chasu tiga ne ndewa tesa chasu zu matanayo ani khatu tenze tso lol zuneni doli che ko resrwa doli che san ko yo ma to lol men ani doli che da tani che te yo ma res.
And even those who monks who can't memorize this whole the Haribhatras text, but they must at least to discuss, to bring this topic in the debate sessions. So they must at least memorize some key lines, key quotations, lines from these Haribhatras texts, so that they have something to refer to in the debate sessions.
Ani ti tseg mare tanda ani chira ma tsutsate salta zuitsaza kolol zuitsaza kai bate yunju chogre serwa maje chetani gundata parichini chira ma tsutsate sal chogres wa shoki lol zui gunda cho ani tni chig ne loju chegores.
And then of course they have to in order to retain, to remember, all the things that the texts of so many texts that they have memorized by heart. So in order to keep those, to remember and not to forget about this, then the monk must, usually after the debate sessions, at night, then they have to they have to recite all this the memorized texts in order to ensure that they don't forget those the texts.
That so ni got so teach hakutune ya poresrwa ani ani teach Jesus yoro goyana tnida ani desa loju tni chegi ya wade teach hakutuna ani ya boyo sar teso srwa.
So this just thought just mention that because this might be some good for you to know that how these the monks in the major monasteries, the study or texts such like this, and also when, by understanding this also help you as well in your study of these texts.
Ta tane melani ta katso shewa no ji shite ne sanami ta yunju do du sa jin ro ina chitane ni ji shite so ngi aposo to yate pe ke chimbore serwa karesena te jingi tu je go ni ka je yo res te jingi tu je ka je ti ga ngi ba to ba je shi go res ta te tane me ji she no she lo je zo ne te je ka te no constitute de go serwa te je je she zo go res 제장 대지공 오초지 단단에 Nizuna ne jikute le larnores.
So the main like a theme of this texts of the Ornament for Clear Realizations are included into these what we call as the eight topics, and so the and these three novels that we are studying now. So these are the among those eight topics, and so it's really important. It's almost like it's essential that that everyone should get familiar with this. Not only knowing all these eight, what are those eight topics, but also knowing the meaning of each one of those. So last week, we begin the discussion study on the knower of basis, and so the definitions of that, the knower of the basis, which I gave last time. So it is definition is a knower of basis is an exalted wisdoms abiding within a lesser vehicle class of realizations, conjoined with the wisdom directly realizing selflessness in the continuum of the person who possessed it. So we went on to this the meaning of this definition a little bit last times. So in this definition has really we have to remember there's three main elements. So like these are like as a knower of the basis. So when it is one which like it says here, it should be a wisdom directly realizing selflessness. So that's one important element. Then other one, it says should be conjoined, as I said, abiding with the exalted wisdom within a lesser vehicle class of realization, conjoined with. So what this the implication is that that wisdom directly realizing selflessness, so is accompanied or is conjoined with some other realizations. That's what he's talking about. Then there's the third, of course, the element which should be in the continuum of the person who possesses. So which is the should be like a superior, within a within a continuum of a superior being. Suppose.
Tense tombota, Kuzo Dominias to pass in the Shesene, the Nishe Sala Shedon Shipate to Tig Nias de Tos de Gishe Wars. Tenza Tene Kahon and Truces and Ashita Shipatella ni two passing it to make Tulotella, Tulos Gijojan Disata, Tulotella ni Niasing Wajida, two Pegum near Reserva. Jeza two patiga. Tu nisala deshi don jevi kone to gres tu pati nis tu disala deshi don jevi kone to gore nyasa te nis tu disala ani deshi don manjevi kone to gores deshi don manjevi kone to patela nyasa tu pa asene jago gores.
And so just to review what we discussed last times, which is all to relating to just to really to knowing these definitions in details. So like in this definition, so the exalted, the knower of the basis. So it says that it should be a wisdom directly realizing selflessness. So therefore, we last time we talked about the wisdom. When we talk about the wisdom, we're talking about a type of consciousness. So therefore, from this, so it's important to understand that. So here we have to understand a bit about the consciousness. What is a consciousness? So consciousness can be thought like a conceptuals, and can be non-conceptual, right? And then we also have to understand that how each of that, whether it's a conceptual or the non-conceptual, when each one of them, when they cognizes its objects, then how then it can be the way the cognition can be direct or can be indirect, right? And so this is something that we discussed about in the last sessions.
제가 다 녀서 동에 코로나요. 롱기 예때 녀서 동에 코로나야 운빙에서지도 여정에서 니셔레스 가도 구조도메 녀서 동에 생게데 아니 다 세체가 저 여정에서도 저거레스로 모두 다 세체가 저로 줘야서 그때 운비시바 어떻게 해요 말레스.
So talking about this, a consciousness, any consciousness, cognizing or to its object, and then here the object to be cognized is this view of selflessness. So therefore therefore when we talk about this view of selflessness as an object, then therefore a kind of consciousness which can cognize this view of selflessness. So must be we here of course we are talking about the consciousness of a ordinary being, ordinary persons. So therefore such consciousness which cognizes wisdoms so must be a mental consciousness. So in another way, it cannot be a sense, like a sensory or a sense consciousness, which for the sensory sense, the sense consciousness of an ordinary being, cannot cognize such objects such as this view of selflessness.
냐서 도스 텔렌치네 당가서 소소시오 세난라 네 폴로마 토픽 네 센제 세난라 지바레 되어라 네 속 절라니 다 냐서도 이제 고로 와다 주다위나 냐서도 토픽 네 예지 시바지 예메 라가서 도바지 제거레스로 드니그 도바데 시초와지 우리 시기바지 우리스.
So, therefore the wisdom which is mentioned here, in the definition of this, the knower of the basis, when it says the wisdom directly realizing selflessness. So we now know that it refers to a mental consciousness, which the consciousness, and then when it says here directly realizing selflessness, all right. So when you talk about that, then it has to be the in terms of the a person who possesses such a wisdom, then it must be a superior being, or an Aryas, because they are the one who can only possess such a wisdom, directly realizing selflessness. So in the relating to this subject, then last time we talked about the ordinary being, whether the ordinary being, even though, of course they cannot have, ordinary being cannot have a consciousness which, or a wisdom which directly realizes the view of selflessness, but they do have the direct consciousness, and so then we discussed about if that direct consciousness doesn't cognize the view of selflessness, then does it cognize any object at all? And so and this is another topic, which is open for discussion, and I think we did raise some the question on that.
제장아니 다더니 똑같이 시기 버리지 그진세 가르세나 아니 드니 똑같이 시기 구조텔라 때지 다 농배그 준에 로도 시백은 로동 때지 로주 제창에다 아니 드니를 제와 제되니가 드니 그 구조도 전에 될 똑같이 해요. 그래서
so this the question, such raising such question like the whether do the ordinary being can have the direct mental perception, mental consciousness or not, and then if so, what sort of the object that this perception can cognize it or not, and so this kind of the question is will arise, or to raise such kind of issue, question. I mean, it is really necessary to have some sort of background knowledge about the Buddhist study of mind and mental factors.
제가 가르세나 다 용절로리 놀라 가르세나 네 소소시위지 제 준저 영예대 놀라망에 비고로 오셔요. 그래서
so now in relating to this, the mental direct consciousness or the perception of an ordinary beings. So in one of the texts of the study of the mind, on the study of the mind, so it is mentions that this direct mental perceptions, mental consciousness of an ordinary being, as an example of a consciousness, a type of consciousness, to which the consciousness which can have the appearance of that object, but can't have the ascertainment of the objects.
당가 지금 될 저와세 가르가리 공부하나 될 랭귀어리라나 아니 예정 준저 ing이 된디 준저 놀라 망에 비글로 제죠 준저 ing에 아니 준저 미셰가 대마 도치 셰발라 때네 미 가서 대미 파치다 런서 미 마치 저저 바 미그 돈데비 가설지 템바이션 런서 세샤레 종이지 대지 딘데케치 비공고치 비딘디 예치바이 시거래서 드니그 치파테죠 드니 좀 맞을 때 뚜베고마 ramajitami te umanoji machagni tani gulong ngong ro dingi chiga dinde kechi mi ngo chibiga ni tani ta nges de jona ko res susu chi witar ra tinza dinde kechi mai za ta ko dise tung shi wujin za ane susu chi wiga te diga chane ko dolo jota go mares
so the based on that, what is mentioned in that text of the study of the mind, in which the direct mental consciousness of an ordinary being is used as an example of a consciousness to which the object appear, but lacking the ascertainment of the objects. So then it seems like the mental direct perceptions, cannot have the cognitions of its objects, right? So, however, the according to this the text that I studied, so where this the example of mental direct perceptions, which is used in the text, is referring to a particular kind of a moment of mental direct perceptions. The moment. So this is referring to like identified. It is identified with the kind of mental direct perception that we can have in our mind, in a form of like a memory. A moment later, we had a visual perception of certain objects, and then when we, after that, immediately moment after, we have a visual consciousness of a certain object. Then it says that this will give rise to this some kind of like a direct mental perceptions, and then from there, and then later on, then we based from there, then we have like a conceptual thought, which remember that. So therefore, since that the direct consciousness, mental consciousness, which arises immediately after the sensory consciousness. So since that is a very subtle moment, very a short moment, that it has no capacity to cognize its objects.
Ta tenza ne ta tulo ngochi ta sikrwata ne tini ngesate susushi jala ye pate kandes shingdilana ne pena ne kuzo dome la mi pi kuzo dome tupa tini kuzo dome deshi tsi tu yore tini deshi tsi tupa te yune yunta gomba zodi tsala tupa chepa ina yo kola ne pole ser tini roya ye waji ne yunu nga to she yore esrowa pena chidu gomanji pata go to chal chijo za ta go sene ne ser roya ji ne rumbaji da kong tsala de she yore es de she iza de noji nga so pena soso gasa ga mashi maya poji da senanda karina ne soso ge te yune yunda trend wa ina ne temba te rumbaji da sewo chaji wa de ne delten ha ko res ro
so however it is we can we can understand that the possibility of our like a mental consciousness to have a direct cognition of certain objects. So this is like we know from the fact that how we meditate on the, for example, on the even on a very subtle object, such as the view of the selflessness of a person's, and then when we meditate on that, so initially our knowledge or of that the selflessness, can be very very coarse and can be very vague. But however, if we continually meditate on the object for longer durations, and then it is eventually, then it is said that we can bring, we can kind of unveil or get rid of all the barriers that exist between our mind and then that subtle objects, to the point that in the text it says that then eventually we can have a direct perceptions, direct cognition of that of selflessness, as same as it becoming like a pouring water into water, in the sense that become one, our mind become oneness with the object to that stage. So, therefore, just as this, so we can also infer that even some the object, such as even somebody that a person that you are familiar with, and if you bring that bring that person in your mind, and then if you continually imagine, for imagine that mind, the person, then you can get a clearer the image of the person, and then as you the continues do that, think of that person, then it can also become clearer and clearer. So from this, we can say that it's possible to have the direct cognition of that person's source.
Penane soso pi che gasaga ne chalo inanda kuzo inanda o pi che kunto sasaga maji inanda chalo inanda so kanga yone yunda sonto na ane tetsi ser ndo ya wata ngazu nyoya hako resrwa.
So just our from our own experience of the various things, like we can tell that our mind, we can have as we think more on those objects, whether it's some, like day-to-day objects, or any person that we like or dislike, how when we ponder our mind on those things and the persons, then our experience shows that we get a clearer the picture, clearer image of those things and the persons.
제가 네 구조 도메 투파티가 구조 도메라 유네 윤도 공부 샤발라 때네 당에서 공원 저기 있을 구로지대지 구조된 포파 총도 그래서와 대 포파 쳐와대 그런 예적이네 예 참모시고 인자 대소소시 원에서 또 들어오 말해서와 마치 아니 자빠지 유네 윤도 공부 샤발라에서 또 소나 되네 이쯤이지대 포파 저게 좀 말이 성됐어와.
So with respect to such a subtle object, such as the selflessness, the selflessness, then when ordinary being, after meditating on that object, subtle object of selflessness, and repeatedly, and then they, and as they become very their mind become very habituated with that the view of selflessness, and then eventually they can have a direct realization, direct cognition of that selflessness. So and when this happens, we say that then the persons then becomes the person then is then becomes like a superior being or an Aryas, and the reason why is because of the realization of the by the virtue of that the realizing the subtle object which is selflessness. So the ordinary being, of course, they can also they have the direct the cognition of like a gross objects, like a very obvious objects, and but however, then that doesn't qualify them. It's just simply because they have a mental direct cognitions of a mental consciousness doesn't mean that they of any object doesn't mean that they become a superior beings.
And that things that Nicolani Topache, Chiawachenani, and Apoyores, Carisina, Capomobogan, de la Shets Namadayores.
So having said all this, but there's also these questions that that we topic that we are just discussing about the cognitions of the of the mind, mental direct consciousness and so on. So there are so many. It is a very one of the subject of the of like the critics and analysis for many scholars. So therefore, on one hand, so it is really open for for one's own analysis, which what one thinks of this loss.
Li making is nawe ngeshi yesi shipping ngeshi sene taniga ngeshi nga sunjo yore taniga li nawe ngeshi to making ngeshi ta yesi shipping ngeshi la supate ane soso shiwi jala yores ro to ngesore ta ngeshi isa yechi ngesa ma to miki umbola miki umbi shipala ane ngeshi sene ro sa yo mares
karsa again.
진짜 젬바지라 다 맞어 소소 시위들라니 예저 돌로집이 예정에서시 예 진짜라 진짜라 아니 슈응노라 아니 녜시 nga스는 기소로 와서 네 미킹 녜시 네 나외 녜시 예세 시빙이 저런 녜시 소보스 녜시 신시여로 와 녜시 동보 자식으로 다 미킹 녜시다 던져 아니 소소 시위들 예와 시여레스 시로비들 예와 시여 때도 소테 녜시 고말 때는 슈응로 와 제자 아니 또 예증에서 해서 어또 또봐 말해서 웅빙에서 말해서 웅빙에서 아니 녜시선으로 사용 말해
웅빙에서 미다 민다고 and the another reasons we can to support or to that the which goes along with this, the idea of the ordinary, the mental consciousness of an ordinary being to have the direct, cognition of various objects. So, which is that like in the text, there are mention of the the 5 types of like a clairvoyant, powers, clairvoyant power, right? Like the divine, divine eyes, divine ears, and then the and the knowing of the other person's mind and so forth. So not this one, for example, this the divine eye and the ear. So this is all they all referring to the or can be all possessed, can be possessed by an ordinary being as well, and also is referred to the mental the the consciousness, mental consciousness of ordinary beings, because the sensory, cannot, cannot be a clairvoyant power.
Umbishi palan Dorje omare ye chipan rokuri jinze karesena to sote chingi la tene ma dreshan juji reswa yung la tene shishan juji res tomo mai bi doje yung la tene shishan juji inza ye ma tun losa yo mares
because all these the clairvoyant powers so have to be developed through the meditations through the meditation on the the four levels of mental levels of concentrations or the absorptions and so forth, and so therefore so we know that these clairvoyant, all these five clairvoyant powers are the mental consciousness, because the sensory consciousness, the meditations on those different levels of concentration or absorption. So these are not relevant. They are not relevant to the sensory consciousness.
tel pejana chishena sujin popeje kuzo domenges to be sharate teme tu zamba res garisna ki mi pate kuzo dometa nomba kuzo dometu lote ni temelo no chigo goji zo chigo res denza ko teme turisne pares te chigo res.
So and then in the definition of this the knower of the basis. So there's also the word called conjoined with, so which we already discussed, covered in the last week's session. So I won't go through that again. And but then there's also then it says the another important the element of this is when it says somewhere, or this lesser vehicle class, within a lesser vehicle class of realizations. So that one, we did discuss last time. So what does that mean? Is like, for example, if you say the exalted, wisdoms, realizing things, selflessness within the continuum of say, even a continuum of a Buddha, a fully enlightened being. So that is the such wisdom is the knower of the base, and is we can say is abiding within a lesser vehicle class of realizations, So the meaning of this, why that the realization of selflessness within the continuum of a Buddha is called as falls within a lesser vehicle class of realization. Lesser vehicle class means that the main the focus or the aspect, the objective aspect of that realization is the selflessness, is the view of selflessness of selflessness, and since that selflessness is the main object to be meditated by the follower of the lesser vehicles. So therefore, these realizations, within the of selflessness within the continuum of a Buddha is, so therefore it's called as a falling within a lesser vehicle class of realization.
제가 원하 된다 외시시대니 다 고조 시절에 했으나 다 산소라고 지시와이나 아니 산소 때다 폴로토 선비고 고조 차송을 그래서 맞아 롱테라 롱아여로 총로 jonlo 통로 골로 몰로서로 다 쓴바데 통로 더 용의 고조 차송을 그래서
So now if we focus on, if we want to find out who would possess the number of bases, or the in the text it falls under the outline called the boundary of this number of base. Then the boundary is that it can be possessed by all the superior beings, and so the and superior beings. So which you have already heard about it before. So are those beings who have entered or who have attained the path, attain the path, above the path of seeing, and all the path above. So there are the called as superior beings.
다 되게 예와죠래 가서 지와 노지리 다 예와시 동서 제다 같은 요리다 알레네까지 니 사이죠나 레라 레미지시 돈 레라 니미지시 예스네 어다 니세지 예까지 되노이잖아.
So then regarding the divisions of the number of bases, so there are some about four or five types there, but if we first focus on the two, which are the which we mentioned last time, the number of the bases close to the resultant mother, and the number of the bases distant from the resultant mother.
제장다 레일라 르마도 투마스 인 레인생이데 아니 다 이라 수제부 배절로 요시에도 노실시에도 그래서와 아니 텔르지도 계시에도 그래서
so in this in here, so this word the close and the distance, so is to related to the relating to the how close or distant to the resultant mother. So resultant mother, so which is the state of Buddhahood, or the omniscient loss.
제장안에 다 레일라 리미지시테 태면 포벽 제치시라고 요거래서와 레일라 니미지시테 네 조세 포벽 제치 대체 포벽 제치잖아. 대체 포벽 제치시도 아니 레일라 니미지시에스네. 어떤 이셔고요래서 다 내가 지던 어지 소전을 빠진데로 와지셔.
So the number of the bases, so number of the bases within the continuum of Hinayana, like superior beings. So these are the number of the bases distant from the resultant mother, and whereas all the number of the bases within the continuum of the Mahayana superior being, so they are the number of the bases close to the resultant mother.
제가 당아서 뒤고는 직군이 빠티가네 로셰된 거래서 체제 직군이 빠지요와 아니 니디셔가 촌어 그치 니 진짜 그 rol라 페파셔널로 인지 되는 제 복세니로 다디 지제니 빠티세는 되로 다지 지니 빠티가 아니 로셰는 제와지 로셰가 예대지가 다 로셰데 가르레스네 지시와이나 아니 로지데지 구조지 돈이게서 또 샤라지 선비 대체 포백을 내도데 아니 로시 지니세 그래서 그래서
So now we move to the knower of paths. So this is the in the expression in the verse of paying homage. So that the second line, which when it says and which through knowledge of path causes those helping beings, transmigrators, to achieve the welfare of the world. So it's relating to that. And so first the definition or the meaning of this the knower of the path. So is said here is a knower of the path is a Mahayana superior clear realizer conjoined with the wisdom directly realizing emptiness in the continuum of person who possesses it.
제상하다 닌생이 될 마고샤나 와자이나 로지데지 구조 tuninge스 투비기 셰라지 아니 상거와체 아니 대웅 대체 포비 긍에 또 인고 받치스네 아니 촌이나 오시 고셔잖시나 아니 레디슬라서레스.
So in here, in this definition, so we there's a we can say there's just two main parts. So first part is it has to be the within the continuum of Mahayana superior being, and then it should be it's a wisdom. It's conjoined with the wisdom directly realizing emptiness.
다 네가니 로지데 구조지 tuninge서 또 봐서 단계 구조도면 또 원우지리 구조도면에서 또 원우지리 tuninge서 또 와시하고 그래서 단계 그 구조도면에서 또 봐시 가서 구조도면에서 또 봐 생애때 네 류라 니 구조 루자트 비제치 동화시고요. 얼마도 아니 돈이시고요. 말해서와 아니 단다 tuninge서 또 신이 그 돈이때 아니 구조 아니 덴베동 덴바트 동화 어떤 이거 계시고요. 그래서
so we should take note of that in the definition in between the definition of this knower of paths and the base. So with the definition of knower of the bases is where we find the word conjoined with the wisdom directly realizing selflessness. Okay, so it says that. So here, according to the school of tenets that which we are following, where the study of this ornament is based on. So then this selflessness, direct realizing selflessness, which is referring to the selflessness of persons. So in terms of the persons being empty of the substantially, the existent self or self-sufficiency in the sense of self-sufficiencies. So that is the gross form of selfless of emptiness. So, however, in here, in the definition of the knower of the path, where it says when it says wisdom directly realizing emptiness, so here it was emptiness. So that is the talking about the emptiness of true existence, and so therefore here which indicates the subtle a view of selflessness.
제상다 대전이빠데 네 대체 법에 또 세고레스 대체 법바 생에때 다 가서 롱아서 쫑아죠다 니티지 롱아 수자지 롱아 대체지 롱아 정한테 대체지 롱아 눈에는 대체 통로 더바인 체지고 구조텔라 아니 대체 법바스는 시고요레스 디그저 적응에 도지 그거레스다.
So and then as is a knower of the path is a Mahayana superior clear realizers. So it must be within the continuum of a Mahayana superior being. So the Mahayana superior beings are those who have who have attained the Mahayana path of seeing, and the Mahayana path, above that, the path of seeings. So these are the referring to the Mahayana superior beings.
제상하다 텐디 로시데 가네노 쳐거스나 대체 포페제지 네 달라 수마 아니 달라신 쳐놓고요. 그래서 대체 포페지로 터지 로수마 지주말이봐. 아니 다 로시 쳐놓고요. 그래서 그래서나 대체 포바 그런 소매거니 돈이는 게서도 또 되고요. 그래. 아니 디지털로 수마는 돈에서도 비셔라지 선에 아니 선되고요. 그래서 와 대인자니 다 대체 포바 인세가 다 디지털로 수마니 로시 쳐놓고요. 그래서
So, so the technically so speaking, so we can say that all the realizations, within the continuum of Mahayana superior beings. So in fact, becomes the knower of the path. So in the definition it says Mahayana superiors clear realizers, so realizers, so you see clear realizers, so referring to that inner realizations of within the continuum of Mahayana superior beings. So so we can say that so all the clear or the inner clear realizer or the inner realizations of Mahayana superior beings so are the knower of the paths.
제장다 맞 예와죠 살아요. 조다 셔라가 차네 예와텔 예와선아 지시고요래 가르치나 니인디질로시 빌로시스 니인디질로시 나 로자질로시 대체질로시스네 다 동보텔라 구조 도맹에서 도비시 다 대체법에질로 하잖아시다. 구조 도맹에서 도비 대체법에지시 아니 다 니동에서 도비 아니 대체법에지질로시 아니 돈ing에서 도비 아니 대체법에지지 아니 당에도 새로와 드니존네 니디질로시 로자질로시 대체질로시스네 그런 거 누세질라 조 아니 다 다외찬에 선신하고요. 그래서
And so in terms of the divisions of the knower of the path, so there are three. So there are the knower of the paths. So just remember that when you say knower of the path, so it's referring to the inner realizations within the continuum of our Mahayana superior beings, right? So the three divisions are the knower of the path that knows hearers, hearers' path, and then the a knower of the path that knows solitary realizers' path, and a knower of the path that knows Mahayana paths. So this each one, when we says knower of the path that knows hearers' path, so that is really referring to the realizations, knower of the path which realizing the selflessness of a person's. So that is the knower of the path that knows the hearer's path, and then the knower of the path that knows solitary realizer path is the realizations, inner realization of the like the voidness of dualistic the or non-duality of subject and objects. So such realization. So within the Mahayana superior being, so that is the knower of the path that knows solitary realizer's path, and then the realizations within the continuum of Mahayana superior being, which realizes the the emptiness of true existence, then the is the knower of the path that knows Mahayana path most.
다 딘디고 라제테 다 산선다고테 시절에 요래라나 네 대체 법어 코네기 질이 요래마 또 테메 법에 질이 말했어.
So in terms of the boundary of that knower of the path, and then this knower of the path, so only exists exists from the Mahayana path of seeing.
어째서 다 되고는 아니 제제 구선백가는 된비가 논책 디코디가 시에와이나 아니 다 치토쟁에서 또 다신비 예시에서는 다 빠지 딘리게죠. 치토제
라라
아니 녀에서도 시빈 다신비 예시대 논책이 되죠. 예스로 아까도 다시는 어떤 저 다시 되는 세계에서 치치시에 되와 실 치치세는 고절 로일 때 숑가고 있죠. 다 치토제에서 저나 대세 로일 차대야 있죠.
라 컨서서 가서
치토제
라
녀에서도 또비
라
다신비 예시
라 저도 무슨 타도 예시라서 so the so with the boundary of the knower of the path, so it should be just exists only in the within the continuum of the Mahayana superior beings. Okay, so that's the boundary, and now we just move to the definition of the exalted knower of aspects. So that should be. 저도 좀 무슨도 또 봐로 이셔와.
녀서도 다시 메시라고다. 다시 메시.
So it should be a fully developed, a fully developed exalted wisdom, directly realizing all phenomena. So that will do as a definition of the exalted knower of aspects.
Tela ni yewa chena ni ta jinye pa serwa ta chitoje jinye pa ni nyasa tu tashi mi shi ji da ni chitawa tu ni nyasa tu tashi mi shi ni yores.
So so there are it can be the exalted knower of aspects, so can be divided into two, which are the an exalted knower of all aspects that knows suchness, and then an exalted knower of all aspects that knows like the conventional truth, or literally the objects or phenomena of diversity. So in terms of the boundary, then the exalted knower of aspects so exists only on the Buddha ground, or only within the continuums of Buddha.
다 딩해를 시다 지시에 인스러와 아니 지시에 론체 스코로스가 이니지 ndum은데 와 지다에 지레스 니라 네다 체제가 지구 동백 가서나 지시에 생기때 닌티를 시해줘도스 닌티 아니 다 론체 생기때 쇼주 셈발 시해줘도스 와 이나요 지시에 생기때 포파 차송을 적은데 네 런시 생에 때 수지 포페절하고도 현주 선발에 책임은 있어와. 대자 대저기 비진 색깔이나스. 니디 그 얘는 얘기는 연한데와. 네 니디 색그자다. 니 현주 선발 색그자다. 니디 색깔이나스.
Okay, so here is just two questions as a homework. So the first one, which I already mentioned in one of the preceding teachings, so that is to whether you can come up with an example of something which are all the three novels. There's something which are all the three novels. Whether you can come up with some that example. And then second question, so is to relating to the verse of paying homage. So where in which the when the homage in the line which pays homage to the knower of the base, so then there's only mention of the hearers or yes, so the hearers, and whereas however as we find out here, we understand here that the knower of the base can be within the continuums of a bodhisattvas or continuum of a buddhas, and so therefore why in that the expression of homage, the reference is only made to the hearers, or the shavakas. And likewise, when you think of the knower of the path, so it is not just the property or the quality or the realization of the bodhisattvas, but even a Buddha can also also possess the knower of the path. So again, so in the homage, paying the homage, why is only referred to the bodhisattvas? So that's the second question.
Yeah, good evening, Sita.